Going live.
Hello, everybody. Day
Hi.
15.
How's it going?
Day 15, peoples.
Day 15.
We got Genesis 29 and 30, Mark 6, verses 14 to 44, and Psalms chapter
After you
7.
said Genesis,
Mhm.
that just made me think of the Bible break song. I got Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy,
Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1st, 2nd, 1st, 2nd Kings, 1st, 2nd Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah, Esther, Joel, Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, Psalms, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Lamentations, Ezekiel. And then we got Daniel, Hosea, Joel, Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi. New Testament, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Acts, Romans, 1st, 2nd Corinthians, Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians, 1st and 2nd Thessalonians, 1st and 2nd Timothy, Titus, Philemon, Hebrews, James, 1st and 2nd Peter, 1st and 2nd, 3rd John, Jude to Revelation. The word's going to say this mission. If we learn the words from Genesis to Revelation. That's a Stephen Wiley song, if y'all don't know.
Yeah,
it's 80s.
It's a really cool song.
Yes, it is. Okay, so Genesis chapter 29. Jacob meets Rachel.
Jacob meets Rachel.
Mm-hmm.
Jacob and Rachel. Got it.
Jacob and the meeting of the Rachel. The Rachel. So Jacob went on his journey and came to the land of the people of the east. And he looked and saw a well in the field. And behold, there were 3 flocks of sheep lying by it. For out of the well they watered the flocks. A large stone was on the well's mouth. Now all the flocks would be gathered there, and they would roll the stone from the well's mouth, water the sheep, and put the stone back in its place on the well's mouth. And Jacob said to them, "My brethren, where are you from?" And they said, "We are from Haran." Then he said to them, "Do you know Laban, the son of Nahor?" And they said, "We know him."
Nahor.
They said, "We know him." So he said to them, "Is he well?" And they said, "He is well. And look, his daughter Rachel is coming with the sheep." Then he said, "Look, it is still high day. It is not time for the cattle to be gathered together. Water the sheep and go and feed them." But they said, "We cannot until all the flocks are gathered together and they have rolled the stone from the well's mouth. Then we water the sheep." Now, while he was still speaking with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she was a sheep shepherdess. And it came to pass, when Jacob saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother, that Jacob went near and rolled the stone from the well's mouth and watered the flock of Laban, his mother's brother. So Rachel was his cousin then.
Mm-hmm.
It's his mother's brother's child. Okay.
Rachel's in the Bible? Dang.
Rachel. Okay. Then Jacob kissed Rachel. What the
heck?
Aren't they cousins? Okay. And lifted up his voice and wept. And Jacob told Rachel that he was her father's relative and that he was Rebekah's son. So she ran and told her father. Then it came to pass when Laban heard the report, also Jacob's sister's son, about Jacob's sister's son, that he ran to meet him and embraced him and kissed him and brought him to his house. So he told Laban all these things. And Laban said to him, "Surely you are my bone and my flesh." And he stayed with him for a month. Jacob marries Leah and Rachel. Oh, man. Why is it always more than one woman? What do you guys want?
Exactly. I hate...
So greedy.
I really hate when guys marry more than one girl. Come on, dude.
It just seems so greedy. What do you need more than one for? Because they have to probably have more than one wife to take care of the house things. It's probably a lot of... They didn't have modern appliances like we did. There was probably a lot of work. That's probably why they did it. I don't know. And then guys out there are saying, "Yeah, that's not all they wanted 2 women for." But I mean, I think I don't know, maybe that's the main reason. Or just to make more people on the earth. So more than one woman, they can have more kids. They just want to have more, I don't know.
More of their offspring.
Yeah, I guess. Okay. Then Laban said to Jacob, "Because you are my relative, should you therefore serve me for nothing? Tell me, what should your wages be?" Now Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah's eyes were delicate, but Rachel was beautiful of form and appearance. Now Jacob loved Rachel, so he said, "I will serve you 7 years for Rachel, your younger daughter." And Laban said, "It is better that I give her to you than that I should give her to another man. Stay with me." So Jacob served 7 years for Rachel. 7 years.
Dang.
so he could marry her. And they seemed only a few days to him because of the love he had for her. Then Jacob said to Laban, "Give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I may go in to her." And Laban gathered
Go
together.
into her.
Well, go in and marry her. Okay, and Laban gathered together all the men of the palace of the place and made a feast. Now it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah, his daughter, and brought her to Jacob, and he went into her. And Laban gave his maid Zilpah to his daughter Leah as a maid. So it came to pass in the morning that, behold, it was Leah. And he said to Laban, "What is this you have done to me?" So he went in there and did things with Leah. Didn't even know it. Was it that pitch dark down there? I mean, did they not have lanterns? You can't see who you're sleeping with? I don't understand.
Mom, when you say like he goes into that person,
Yeah,
to that girl,
yeah.
it sounds like
Well, that's
No.
probably, I don't know. I'm not sure, but I don't know about that. But the thing is, they got married. I don't understand how is it that you don't know? I mean, is he drunk? I don't understand that part. Was it not for Rachel that I served you? Why then have you deceived me? And Laban said, "It must not be done so in our country, to give you the younger before the firstborn." And now they tell him this. He said, "I'll work for you 7 years for the younger sister. And then, okay, work 7 years, and then gives him the older. Oh, well, we can't give you the younger one before the older one. You couldn't tell me this before?
tells me this now.
Like, dude,
Wow.
exactly. Thanks for that. Well, I go, heck no, I worked 7 years for this one over here, not that one. Anyway, fulfill her week, and we will give you this one also for service, which you will serve with still another 7 years. So he worked 7 years to get Rachel, but they gave him Leah. And they go, okay, you want Rachel? You got to work another 7 years.
Wow.
Serve with still another 7 years. Then Jacob did so and fulfilled her week. So he gave his daughter Rachel as his wife also. So he did another 7 years just to get. Rachel must have been bomb. Like, I don't know what the guy, dude. I don't know. And Laban gave his maid Bilhah to his daughter Rachel as a maid. Bilhah to Rachel as a maid. Then Jacob also went into Rachel, and he also loved Rachel more than Leah. And he served with Laban still another 7 years. Dang. The children of Jacob. When the Lord saw that Leah was unloved, he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. Oh, so God saw that he loved Rachel more than Leah. So he made Rachel not have kids and made Leah get pregnant from him.
Yeah.
Leah conceived and bore a son, and she called his name Reuben, for she said, "The Lord has surely looked on my affliction."
I heard that name before, Reuben. I didn't know it was in the Bible.
Yeah. Now, therefore, my husband will love me. So she thought, oh, since I had a baby, my husband's going to love me.
I'm learning so much from this.
Mm-hmm. Then she conceived again and bore a son and said, because the Lord has heard that I am unloved, he has therefore given me this son also. And she called his name Simeon. She conceived again and bore a son and said, now this time my husband will become attached to me because I have borne him 3 sons.
Wait.
Therefore his name was called Levi.
I think something's coming up here. Reuben, Simeon,
and Levi.
Joseph came dream.
Yeah, there it is. You're getting
that
it.
story's coming.
You're getting it. Jacob, yeah.
Jacob, what's the wife's name again?
Leah is the one having the babies, but he really loves Rachel. Rachel is the one that has
So
Joseph,
that lady that was near Rachel after Joseph was born, that was Leah?
Right. So Leah, you know how Joseph had 7 brothers?
Mm-hmm.
That's all Leah's kids, Leah's sons. But then Rachel, the one that was barren, remember? Rachel finally had a baby. That was Joseph. This is all the brothers being born before.
He had 11 brothers, right?
So Leah's...
There's
exactly.
Okay, so Simeon, Levi, Issachar. Okay, whatever. We'll get all of them.
So far she's had 3 sons.
So she have 11.
So then, and she conceived again and bore a son and said, now I will praise the Lord. Therefore she called his name Judah. Then she stopped bearing. So she had 4. Okay, and then she stopped bearing. Now when Rachel saw that she bore Jacob no children, Rachel envied her sister and said to Jacob, give me children or else I die. And Jacob's anger was aroused against Rachel, and he said, "Am I in the place of God who has withheld from you the fruit of the womb?" So she said, "Here is my maid Bilhah. Go into her, and she will bear a child on my knees, that I also may have children by her." This is the same thing that happened with the other lady. Here's my maid, so I can. Why are they thinking I'm gonna have children through her? You can't have children through someone else. He's having kids with this other woman, not you, bull. I don't understand.
Oh my God.
I don't get it. Okay, so then she gave him Bilhah, her maid, as wife, and Jacob went into her. What? Can't Jacob say no? I love you. I don't want to do that with her.
What
Okay.
is wrong with people?
Back then, it must have been different. Okay. And Bilhah conceived and bore Jacob a son. Then Rachel said, "God has judged my case, and he has also heard my voice and given me a son." Therefore, he called his name Dan. And Rachel's Bilhah conceived again and bore Jacob a second son. Then Rachel said, "With great wrestling, I have wrestled with my sister, and indeed I have prevailed." So she called his name Naphtali.
Naphtali.
When Leah saw that she had stopped bearing, she took Zilpah, her maid, and gave her to Jacob as a wife. So Jacob has Leah and Rachel as wives, and then each of them have a maid. So Rachel, Leah, and they each have wives. So Leah started having kids, and Rachel wasn't having. So she gave the maid servant to him, had kids, and now she stopped. So she gave him. So he's doing. I don't understand.
What is wrong?
Like.
Stop. I do that.
Stop having kids. No.
I face palm sometimes, okay?
Okay, when Leah saw that she had stopped bearing, she took Zilpah, her maid, and gave her to Jacob as his wife. And Leah's maid Zilpah bore Jacob a son. Then Leah said, "A troop comes." So she called his name Gad. And Leah's maid Zilpah bore Jacob a second son. Then Leah said, "I am happy for the daughters will call me blessed." So she called his name Asher. Now Reuben went in the days of wheat harvest and found mandrakes in the field and brought them to his mother Leah. Then Rachel said to Leah, "Please give me some of your son's mandrakes." What's a mandrake?
I don't know what that is.
Is that like an herb or something?
If y'all know what that word is, comment it down below.
Mandrakes. What is a mandrake? Let's see if I could look it up. Mandrakes. I think it's a type of like leaves or
never mind. We're looking
something
it up.
bush or something. Like, let me see. Mandrake.
I don't know.
Mandrakes are the roots of plants in the genus Mandragora, which are part of the nightshade family. They are also known as Mandragora officinarum. Oh, they look like that. They're like leaves. Look. I don't know if you guys could see that. It's like a leaf. Okay. But she said to her, "Is it a small matter that you have taken away my husband? Would you take away my son's mandrakes also?" And Rachel said, "Therefore he will lie with you tonight for your son's mandrakes." When Jacob came out of the field in the evening, Leah went out to meet him and said, "You must come in to me, for I have surely hired you with my son's hired your own husband, hired you with my son's mandrakes." And he lay with her that night. And God listened to Leah, and she conceived and bore Jacob a fifth son. Leah said, "God has given me my wages because I have given my maid to my husband." So she called his name Issachar.
Issachar. I knew
Okay.
it.
Then Leah conceived again and bore Jacob a sixth son. Dang. And Leah said, "God has endowed me with a good endowment. Now my husband will dwell with me because I have borne him 6 sons." So he called his name Zebulun.
Sons? Man, where are the daughters at?
I know. How many girls? Afterwards, she bore a daughter and called her name Dinah. Then God remembered Rachel, and God listened to her and opened her womb. And she conceived and bore a son and said, "God has taken away my reproach." So she called his name Joseph.
Mother.
And said,
As soon as I said, "Man, where the daughters at?" And then you said a daughter.
So they did have a
a
sister.
daughter. I'm like, you
One
said,
sister.
that was, you know what? Funny if you're like, speaking of daughters.
Speaking of daughters. Okay. So Joseph finally had Joseph. Okay.
Yeah.
The Lord shall add me. So she called his name Joseph and said, "The Lord shall add to me another son." Let me see. I'm supposed to read. Okay, it's all the way to 30. Jacob's agreement with Laban. And it came to pass when Rachel had borne Joseph that Jacob said to Laban, "Send me away that I may go to my own place to my country. I go to my own place and to my country. Give me my wives and my children for whom I have served you, and let me go, for you know my service which I have done for you." And Laban said to him, "Please stay, if I have found favor in your eyes, for I have learned by experience that the Lord has blessed me for your sake." Then he said, "Name me your wages, and I will give it." So Jacob said to him, "You know how I have served you and how your livestock has been with me. For what you had before I came was little, and it has increased to a great amount. The Lord has blessed you since my coming, and now when shall I also provide for my own house?" So he said, "What shall I give you?" And Jacob said, "You shall not give me anything. If you will do this thing for me, I will again feed and keep your flocks. Let me pass through all your flock today, removing from there all the speckled and spotted sheep and all the brown ones among the lambs, and the spotted and speckled among the goats, and these shall be my wages. So my righteousness will answer for me in the time to come, when the subject of my wages comes before you. Every one that is not speckled and spotted among the goats and brown among the lambs will be considered stolen, if it is with me." And and Laban said, "Oh, that it were according to your word." So he removed that day the male goats that were speckled and spotted, all the female goats that were speckled and spotted, every one that had some white in it, and all the brown ones among the lambs, and gave them into the hand of his sons. Then he put 3 days' journey between himself and Jacob fed the rest of Laban's flocks. Now Jacob took for himself rods of green poplar, and of almond and chestnut trees, peeled white strips in them, and exposed the white which was in the rods. And the rods which he had peeled, he set before the flocks in the gutters, in the watering troughs, where the flocks came to drink, so that they should conceive when they came to drink. So the flocks conceived before the rods, and the flocks brought forth streaked, speckled, and spotted. Then Jacob separated the lambs and made the flocks faced toward the streaked and all the brown in the flock of Laban. But he put his own flocks by themselves and did not put them with Laban's flock. And it came to pass, whenever the stronger livestock conceived, that Jacob placed the rods before the eyes of the livestock in the gutters, that they might conceive among the rods. But when the flocks were feeble, he did not put them in. So the feebler were Laban's, and the stronger Jacob's. Thus the man became exceedingly prosperous, and had large flocks, female and male servants, and camels and donkeys. So Jacob got rich, I guess. Okay, Mark 6, verses 14 to 44.
Dang.
6, 14 to 44. John the Baptist beheaded. Oh no.
Wait, who's John the
John the Baptist. He's the one that baptized Jesus.
You want Jesus?
No, it's kind of late, Mama. I don't like eating this late.
Okay.
Okay, Mark chapter 6, verses 14 to 44. Okay, John the Baptist beheaded. Now King Herod heard of him, for his name had become well known. And he said, "John the Baptist is risen from the dead, and therefore these powers are at work in him." Others said, "It is Elijah." And others said, "It is the prophet, or like one of the prophets." But when Herod heard, he said, "This is John, whom I beheaded. He has been raised from the dead." For Herod himself had sent and laid hold of John and bound him in prison for the sake of Herodias, his brother Philip's wife, for he had married her. Because John had said to Herod, "It is not lawful for you to have your brother's wife." He married his brother's wife. Oh, that's nasty. Therefore Herodias held it against him and wanted to kill him, but she could not. Okay, so Herod married Herodias. Herodias was Herod's brother's wife, but Herod still married Herodias. And then when John the Baptist said, "Oh, you're not supposed to marry your brother's wife," Herodias was like, "Don't say that. Like, but you married 2 brothers. What the heck?" What's the matter with you? Okay. Wanted to kill him, but she could not. For Herod feared John, knowing that he was a just and holy man, and he protected him. And when he heard him, he did many things and heard him gladly. Then an opportune day came when Herod on his birthday gave a feast for his nobles and high officers and the chief men of Galilee. And when Herodias's daughter herself came in and danced and pleased Herod and those who sat with him, the king said to the girl, "Ask me whatever you want and I will give it to you." Isn't that his daughter or is that his brother's daughter? And she danced for him and he got all happy about it. I don't understand. That doesn't make sense to me. He also swore to her, "Whatever you ask me, I will give you, up to half my kingdom." She must have been a really good dancer. So she went out and said to her mother, "What shall I ask?" And she said, "The head of John the Baptist." Ew, I don't want that. Immediately she came in with haste to the king and asked, saying, "I want you to give me at once the head of John the Baptist on a platter." Oh, who wants that?
No, throw that in the garbage.
That's disgusting. No, don't behead him. Leave him alone. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, don't behead him. My bad.
Don't do that. And the king was exceedingly sorry, yet because of the oaths and because of those who sat with him, he did not want to refuse her. So he didn't want to behead him, but he said, "Well, I promised her, I have to do it now." Immediately the king sent an executioner and commanded his head to be brought. And he went and beheaded him in prison, brought his head on a platter and gave it to the girl, and the girl gave it to her mother. When his disciples heard of it, they came and took away his corpse and laid it in a tomb. Oh, poor John the Baptist. Feeding the 5,000. Then the apostles gathered to Jesus and told him all the things, both what they had done and what they had taught. And he said to them, "Come aside by yourselves to a deserted place and rest a while." For there were many coming and going, and they did not even have time to eat. So they departed to a deserted place in the boat by themselves. But the multitude saw them departing, and many knew him and ran there on foot from all the cities. They arrived before them and came together to him.
Is it God?
Jesus, yeah, they're all following him. They're all mobbing him.
Was this? I remember heard the story. Okay, you'll keep finding.
And Jesus, when he came out, saw a great multitude and was moved with compassion for them, because they were like sheep, not having a shepherd. So he began to teach them many things. When the day was now far spent, his disciples came to him and said, "This is a deserted place, and already the hour is late. Send them away that they may go into the surrounding countries and villages and buy themselves bread, for they have nothing to eat." Okay. But he answered and said to them, "You give them something to eat." And they said to him, "Shall we go and buy 200 denarii worth of bread and give them something to eat?"
Denarii?
It's a lot of money. But he said to them, "How many loaves do you have? Go and see." And when they found out, they said, five and 2 fish. Then he commanded them to make them all sit down in groups on the green grass. So they sat down in ranks, in hundreds and in 50s. And when he had taken the loaves and the 2 fish, he looked up to heaven, blessed and broke the loaves and gave them to his disciples to set before them. And the 2 fish he divided among them all. So they all ate and were filled. And they took up 12 baskets full of fragments and of the fish. Now those who had eaten the loaves were about 5,000 men. They found 5,000 men with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. And there was a whole bunch left over. Huh? Like, how does that happen? It's a miracle. We don't get it.
God is magical.
God is God. That's amazing.
I think my favorite part is when it's the Moses story and manna falls.
That's crazy.
I want to taste that.
Me too. There's like little sweet crackers or something. Okay, Psalm chapter 7. Prayer and praise for deliverance from enemies. A meditation of David, which he sang to the Lord concerning the words of Cush, a Benjamite. O Lord, my God, in you I put my trust. Save me from all those who persecute me, and deliver me, lest they tear me like a lion, rendering me in pieces while there is none to deliver. O Lord, my God, if I have done this, if there is iniquity in my hands, if I have repaid evil to him who was at peace with me, or have plundered my enemy without cause, let the enemy pursue me and overtake me. Yes, let him trample my life to the earth and lay my honor in the dust. Arise, O Lord, in your anger. Lift yourself up because of the rage of my enemies. Rise up for me to the judgment you have commanded. So the congregation of the peoples shall surround you for their sakes. Therefore, return on high. The Lord shall judge the peoples. Judge me, O Lord, according to my righteousness and according to my integrity within me. Oh, let the wickedness of the wicked come to an end, but establish the just, for the righteous God tests the hearts and minds. My defense is of God, who saves the upright in heart. God is a just judge, and God is angry with the wicked every day. If he does not turn back, he will sharpen his sword. He bends his bow and makes it ready. He also prepares for himself instruments of death. He makes his arrows into fiery shafts. Behold, the wicked brings forth iniquity. Yes, he conceives trouble and brings forth falsehood. He made a pit and dug it out and has fallen into the ditch which he made. His trouble shall return upon his own head, and his violent dealing shall come down on his own crown. I will praise the Lord according to his righteousness and will sing praise to the name of the Lord Most High.
I heard that song before.
Yep, that's a good one. Okay, guys, that's it. We'll see you tomorrow for day 16. We hope you have a good night. God bless.
Bye.
Bye.